Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to review the 2018 action movie Darc, a movie that stars an actor called Tony Shaina, who I'd never heard of before this movie, and Armand Assante. And like I said, this is a movie I'd never heard of, never seen a trailer of, and I'd heard or read a couple of good things about it online. I thought I'll give this one a go. And boy, am I glad I did. I think I found a little gem here, guys. This is an action film that is very much influenced, I suppose, by the stylings of the John Wick movies. And it reminded me a little bit of Raw Deal, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie from the 80s. And I'm not going to go into the plot line of that movie. If you've seen it, you know what it's like. And what we get with this movie is we get Darc, the actor Tony Shaina plays a character called Darc, and at the beginning of the movie, it's set in Tokyo. His mother is working as a prostitute for the Yakuza in Tokyo, and this kid is obsessed with comics and this heroic character called Darc in these comics, and unfortunately he witnesses his mother killed in front of him in Tokyo by the Yakuza. So it shifts then to modern day. He just gets out of prison. He's picked up by Armand Assante, who he clearly used to work for. I think Armand Assante's character, Lafique, is some kind of government official or police operative, something like that. And Darc obviously used to work for him. Gets him out of prison. We don't really know why he's in prison. And he basically says to him, right, I've got you out of prison early because my daughter's been kidnapped by the Yakuza and I need you to help me get her back. And he initially refuses, Darc. He's called himself Darc after this cartoon character that he's obsessed over as a child. He initially refuses, but he's talked around. So he's got to infiltrate the Yakuza in America and gain their trust. And he does this by befriending or saving the head of the Yakuza in America, his son, who's trying to prove himself but doing a poor job of it. And he saves him from these hoodlums, these biker gang, totally brutally takes out this biker gang, and immediately this young son, this Yakuza, who wants to prove himself, tries to bring him on board as his bodyguard and enforcer sort of thing. He manages to get himself in after a few tests by the Yakuza, and he's in the Yakuza as an enforcer basically. But his ultimate goal is to try and find Lafique's daughter, who has been kidnapped, and they are using his daughter to get information out of Armand Assante's character. So he's in the Yakuza and he's got to try and seek out his daughter, all in the while trying to keep his cover safe. But there also may be a connection to the people in this Yakuza, to those who brutally killed his mother when he was 8 years old in Tokyo. So it also becomes a personal vendetta for Darc. And that's the gist of the story that we get here. Nothing new, nothing original, kind of stuff we've seen all before. And that is the biggest criticism that I think most people could throw at this movie. It doesn't overcomplicate things. Its plot line is very simple. We've seen it all before, and probably better, to be fair, at times. But this movie is unapologetic. It knows what it is and it doesn't try, which I think a lot of movies make this massive mistake. They try and overcomplicate things and trying to make it more intelligent than it is. This movie doesn't do that. It takes the recent movie that Jared Leto did, the Yakuza movie, The Outsider, that had some good elements to it, but ultimately was a bit of a snore fest. It takes the good bits out of that movie and influences from John Wick and combines the two, and we get a balls to the wall, full-on action flick here that is enormous fun to watch. I mean, the guy, Tony Shaina, who I'd never seen or heard of before this movie. I think he's done a few smaller movies. He's done a couple of Van Damme movies here and there. And my understanding is he is a former undefeated karate champion. Well, he looks like James Purefoy in a way, like a beefed up James Purefoy. And he's built perfectly for action. I mean, he sells these action scenes magnificently. There's a couple of dodgy action fight scenes where the camera's a bit shaky. But thankfully, it's not throughout the whole movie. but the action is full on. The hand-to-hand stuff and even the gunfight stuff, it doesn't let up. It doesn't give you an awful lot of time to breathe, and the stuff it does try and introduce to give you a breather doesn't necessarily work. There's a side story where one of his neighbours, this flat he's moved into after getting out of prison, one of his neighbours is a good-looking woman who they start having a thing. But it doesn't really work, although there's a nice scene right at the end where it ties that off quite well, I think. So I think this movie is a real hidden gem of an action movie, guys, and I really do encourage you to watch it. I had a ball watching it. I can't give it any huge criticism other than it's unoriginal, and we've seen this sort of thing before. But what it does do, it does fantastically well. The action scenes are handled wonderfully. They're pretty brutal. It's completely uncompromising. It's what The Outsider should have been, I think. That movie just was a bit boring. Took itself far too seriously. Well, this movie doesn't. It goes the opposite way. It doesn't take itself far too seriously. If you remember that movie years ago with Dolph Lundgren, Showdown in Little Tokyo, that was completely bonkers, but wow, was that a lot of fun. In fact, I might do a classic film review for that at some point. This is a step up from that in regards to its seriousness, but it just doesn't want to take itself too seriously. It doesn't want you to take it too seriously. It's just full on fun, great action, really well filmed action. This guy's competent in front of the camera, competent in the action scenes. And you buy it. I bought it all. Amanda Sante brings a level of believability to the movie, into the role, and there's no poor performances. I've got to say, guys, there's very little here that I can give you in regards to huge negatives. If you like full-on, well-made action movies, and definitely if you're a fan of John Wick movies, I think you're going to love this movie. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, and for me, it's a hidden gem. And I think you need to get out there and watch this one, guys, because you'll have a ball. Don't go in there expecting really intellectual action movie sort of thing. You ain't going to get it. You're just going to get a lot of fun, a lot of action, and a good time. So I highly recommend Darc, guys. I'm definitely going to be looking to add this to my collection. So thank you for watching.